Alexis Nunes alongside Mark Donaldson, our fantasy football guru. Mark, let's talk about game week 2. I know things went well for you in game week 1. It looked like things were going pretty well for you in game week 2, but then came the man, the myth, the legend that is Michail Antonio at West Ham. Please tell me you had him in your side.
I do now. I didn't. I know. See, this is the problem. Everyone's trying to be first to get that kind of single-digit sign-up number when the game launches every summer. The problem with that is you end up saying, I'm only going to do 1 or 2 drafts. No, you don't. You do like 40 drafts. Of course, I've had Antonio in a draft. Towards the end, I had Ben Rama in a draft as well. Last week on this segment, I said, get Ben Rama. Why don't I listen to myself? I waited too long. His price went up. I'm Scottish. I thought, I'm not paying an extra fake 100,000. So I didn't get him. So I didn't have either. So it was the usual. It was the Saturday night joy followed by in this case, the Monday evening gloom. I've had to rectify that and moves have been made.
All right. Well, that's exactly where I was going next, because as you said that you probably do have Michail Antonio in your team now, but which other players have you probably had to swap out and swap in?
So this is the problem, because you look at the players that you get during the summer and you think, right, that'll work. But then there's no patience whatsoever, not just in fantasy football, but in life in general. Okay, so I've had Harvey Barnes, I was getting angry with him, so I got rid of him. Emile Smith-Rowe, Arsenal's fixtures from game week 4 are decent. It's just been rubbish in the first kind of couple of game weeks so far. So I want to be part template, but part differential as well. I don't want to kind of go against the grain. If a Luke Shaw or a Bruno Fernandes or a Mo Salah are all nearly or over 50% owned, you've kind of got to have at least 2 or 3, ideally probably 3 out of 3 in the early stage of the season. But a lot of it is to do with fixtures going forward as well, because Spurs have got Watford at home this weekend. Harry Kane said he's going to stay now. Son, people might be put off by him because he might play a little bit deeper, but he was one of the top scoring midfielders last season in Fantasy Premier League, and that was with Harry Kane. So don't be put off by Son. I know, and this is where I could screw everything up. I know we're going to have a look at my graphic, and the 2 kind of transfers that I'm considering would be either Reguilon coming in for Kieran Tierney, depending on fitness, or I really like someone like Demarai Gray of Everton. It was only 5.5 million at the time of recording for maybe Emile Smith-Rowe. But here's the grenade. I'm considering a wild card. Now, I thought about a wild card, maybe game 7 when the fixtures change. Lukaku's Chelsea has some great fixtures. Will we see the likes of Ben Chilwell restored to the side? But I've decided to potentially pull the trigger this week and get some of the guys that I really want. Join the bandwagon. I don't have a problem with that at this stage of the season. We're not trying to last couple of games of the season and we're looking for differentials. We're trying to keep those differentials maybe to a minimum, but make sure they're the right ones. Either low owned, Son's not too high owned, considering the fixtures that Spurs have got in the next 2. But here's the one team that I want you to keep tabs on after this weekend. Wolverhampton Wanderers. Their fixtures are amazing. Raul Jimenez is back. They've created loads of chances. Haven't done well as far as scoring is concerned, but the likes of Nelson Semedo, Raul Jimenez, Daniel Podenza came back in the League Cup. I think they will surprise. So that's the little tip this week, which I was going to save for later. But keep an eye on Wolves prospects. Maybe not this week, but going forward from game week 4 after the international break.
Right, Mark. So you mentioned looking ahead to certain fixtures. You mentioned Arsenal's fixtures. But for you, which ones are you looking to cash in on big?
Well, the problem with having a good set of fixtures like Arsenal have they got the form? They have been missing loads of players. What I thought was really interesting, on Tuesday evening, so Wednesday morning UK time, a lot of big players dropped in price because they have just been shipped out by so many players who've not been patient, but there's some good bargains to be had. So you've got Raul Jimenez, who's dropped to 7.4. You've got Nelson Semedo at Wolves, who's dropped to 4.9. So you've got players like that and many others. Emile Smith-Rowe, I know I haven't been patient with him, but from game week 4, you mentioned the fixtures, there is the possibility that things could go well. The other one I'm probably going to get rid of if I use the wild card, and I don't want to, because from game week 4 onwards, the fixtures are ideal for Kieran Tierney, who's like an attacker playing in defence for Arsenal. This is the problem with defenders, Alexis. If you're just picking them for what they can do going forward, then you've got to still have that element of, are they going to get clean sheets? Luke Shaw doesn't have any clean sheets so far, but he managed to get 2 bonus points in game week 2, and he's owned by so many. I really like Reguilon as the differential under 10% owned this week, and I probably will be bringing him in, whether I do the wild card or whether I just stick and make the 1 or 2 transfers. So other sets of fixtures, Everton have looked so good so far coming forward. Demarai Gray getting balls into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Patience can be applied to Lucas Digne. He's been let go of by many players as well. He's another who's on the set plays. So if you can look for defenders that take set plays in teams that have got good upcoming fixtures, then let me know, because I could do with some help.
Well, a man that could do with no help in scoring goals is Romelu Lukaku. He is back in the Premier League like he never left. And after what we saw from him this past weekend, Mark, everyone's going to be clamoring for him. You're included in that. But who are you letting go so you could get the big man in?
That's the problem here. Because if you think you can do Salah and maybe Son and Fernandes and someone like Lukaku, it ain't happening. Because you're going to have you, me, and Freddie, the producer, in goal. And that's going to be about it. It's probably going to be 7 of us, because we can't afford, with the 100 million that we have to spend, to get everybody in this one. So Lukaku, for me, is, I'm kind of trying to plan this out. So from game week 7, I'm thinking Bruno goes, Lukaku comes in, and I get someone like a Demarai Gray, or depending on what happens over the next few weeks. But here's the issue with regards to strikers. There's a lot of mid-priced good ones right now. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is certainly decent. Danny Ings is decent as well. But his fixtures turn, Villa's turn, after game week 3. So that would be an easy transfer. Calvert-Lewin in for someone like Danny Ings after game week 3. But Mikel Antonio, I know it keeps going up in price, but you're not leaving him out. The problem that you have, Alexis, when you've got 3 strikers, is you can't play 5 midfielders. So if you've got a Lukaku, an Antonio, and a Dominic Calvert-Lewin, there's no point in having 5 big guns in the middle of the park, because you can only play 4 of them in a 3-4-3. And if you want 5 in midfield, you can only play 2 strikers. So that's why you need a midfielder, 5th midfielder, who's probably going to be on your bench when the fixtures aren't the best, but could maybe come in and still get you points. So that's something to think about as well. If you are going to get Romelu Lukaku, do you drop someone like Bruno Fernandes? Well, if you've got a Paul Pogba, then maybe, or if you've got a Greenwood, he's doing well right now, or do you drop Salah and maybe pick up Diogo Jota? So then you do have the funds available. You're not going to get everything you want. That's the problem with this. So do you want to get Lukaku now before his price continues to rise? Wait until game week 7, or just go with 3 mid-priced strikers and forget about Lukaku. If you do that, by the way, I would advise someone like Mason Mount, because I think who's on a lot of the free kicks already for Chelsea, I think he will be a really smart and probably low-owned midfielder to get, because if you've now got a focal point in Romelu Lukaku, someone's got to assist the main man, haven't they?
Indeed. And finally, the big question, of course, who's wearing the captain's armband for you going into this weekend?
So when I send the email to your colleagues in the ESPN UK office, I kind of do it on a Monday, because we record usually on a Wednesday, so things got to be prepped. So initially I put Jack Grealish, and then I thought, that wild card, he's not in my team. So initially I'd say if I have Jack Grealish, I'll maybe captain him. Right? I don't rate Arsenal this season so far. But the problem with Man City, especially trying to captain a player, are they going to play? This Pep roulette, I hate it. I'm happy to go the whole season without a Manchester City player, unless it's a Ruben Diaz or an Ederson in goal. Because I don't want to be the guy an hour before kickoff that looks at the Man City Twitter account and goes, they've done me again. And then you get frustrated because Mahrez was benched last week, and then he comes on and he scores. So for those of us that didn't have Mahrez, you're thinking, yes, Grealish, I picked him up last week. He came in, he scored for me. But then others did as well. Mahrez comes off the bench, a destroyer of dreams, and then Ben Rama and Antonio. So it's an up and down thing. You've got to be patient here. I haven't really answered your question with regards to captain. If I wild card and I bring in Son Heung-min, I might captain him. I'm not going to captain Bruno. because I think Wolves are okay. And I think it might be similar to the Southampton game. United will have a fair bit of the ball, but might not be their day. And there's a lot of other options for United. Someone like Paul Pogba. Jadon Sancho's dropped in price. He's going to start pretty soon. He's another option. So I'm probably not going to be Bruno. You know what? It might be the safest option of all. And it might be the smartest option of all this week, because I think over 50% of managers have got Mohamed Salah. But how many of them are going to captain him against Chelsea? I don't think too many. So if you've got half of the game with Mohamed Salah, you can get double the points on pretty much everyone in the game who's not captaining Salah. So maybe while looking all around and seeing Grealish and seeing Antonio at home to Palace and Ben Rama and everybody else that could be considered, maybe the answer's right where we are. Just keep it on Salah, because he doesn't normally disappoint. We'll forgive him game week 2, shall we?
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.